Okay, what we are going to look at now is the golden rule. So an explanation. So this is for a describe or explain the golden rule question. Okay, first of all, what is the golden rule? Well, it is a modification of the literal rule. So what does that mean? Basically, what happens is you start off with the literal rule. And if the literal rule leads to absurdity, then judges can use the golden rule. There are two approaches to the golden rule. You've got the narrow approach. First of all, this means if there are two meanings to the word, judges will choose the most suitable meaning. You then have the wide or wide approach. This means that if one meaning of the word leads to absurdity, the court can modify the meaning of the word. So they can't change it, but they can modify it. Now, a case example for each approach. The narrow approach, you can use the case of Adler. Under the Official Secrets Act 1920, it's an offence to obstruct forces, armed forces, in the vicinity of a prohibited place. Now, in this case, the defendant was actually inside the prohibited place. So they had to interpret what is meant by in the vicinity. So in the vicinity, surrounding areas, does it include inside the place? So they used the narrow approach and they thought, well, in the vicinity actually has two meanings. It also does mean being inside. So they chose the most sensible meaning. Was he in the vicinity? In the literal rule, no, he's not. But if we look properly at the meaning of in the vicinity, it includes inside the building. Was he inside the building? Yes, therefore he was guilty. The wide or broad approach was used in the case of Sigsworth. So the son murdered his mother and there was no will. So the law states that your next of kin, or issue, was a very old word used, would receive the money from the estate. So using the literal rule, the son would be entitled to his mother's money. Now that's quite absurd because he had murdered her to get the money. And the court said, well, we don't want to use the literal rule because it leads to absurdity. So the literal rule is not going to apply. We are going to use the golden rule. And we think that by using the golden rule, it's going to avoid the undesirable situation of the son inheriting the estate. When Parliament made that, next of kin issue, what they meant to say was the next of kin is entitled to the money unless they've murdered the person. So they are expanding that meaning quite a lot. However, they claimed they were just modifying the meaning of who can receive the money. Okay, watch the next video for the evaluation.